interesting to some extent. Anyways, let's go. So, to the top right-hand side, our blue Terran player from OSC Elite is souL. And to the bottom left-hand side, our red Terran from Cascade is BratOK. Thanks for staying tuned for a couple of extra series at the end of the stream, guys. Just want to get through, you know, again, just make the stream a little bit longer, a little bit lengthier. Some other bits and pieces. How's everyone doing out in the chat? Hope you're all doing well. If you're enjoying the stream today, make sure you hit that follow button. And if you're really enjoying, of course, don't forget you can support the channel in multiple ways. You can subscribe. You can sub with Twitch Prime if you have it. It doesn't cost you anything at all. Just click that sub button, click subscribe for free. And of course, you can donate and cheer as well. All of it helps me to continue producing StarCraft 2 content on a regular basis. As it's all greatly appreciated as well. Without you guys, we wouldn't be here putting out casts of games day in and day out in the world of StarCraft. So, thank you all for being a part of this mystical, magical journey. As you do just see, this SCV is initially here going to be pushing across towards the upper right-hand side after coming down to the bottom left and seeing, well, another SCV. So actually, an SCV scout piece. I think just by seeing the SCV scout, souL's like, okay, you aren't proxying me if you're SCV scouting, right? So for souL, that's enough information. He throws down the command center. And so, yeah, that's all souL wanted to know, that it wasn't a proxy, because both of these players are going to go for the Reaper expansion. So no double gas right away, both of them for pretty quick expo. Not something you see all the time anymore in TvT. It's really weird how the TvT meta shifts. We went through a real phase of having this be the only way to open because everyone had figured out that double gas opening so well. And suddenly double gas came back into the meta quite heavily. Now we're starting to see the Reaper expands be kind of favored once again. I mean, when I say come back into the meta, they've always been there. People have always done them. But there's definitely been a preference over time of more people doing one than the other. The double gas versus the one gas expands. So it's always very interesting to see how the differences go and what happens. As we are going to be seeing just what's going to be going down over the next few minutes. Command center in the way on the natural from both players. We see the factory coming through. And obviously the second gas will now come up post-expansion. So everything we kind of expect this to be for the moment. As I actually just very quickly have to move my Streamlabs dashboard down because it's a little bit blocked at the moment. There we go. That's a bit better. All good. All good. Alright, awesome. So, yeah, some Terran versus Terran. I decided to cast this one because I was in this on my second account and I saw that these were some pretty wacky games. So I figured this would be a pretty fun little way to wrap up the stream with this series. As we are going to be having the couple of, well, Hellion and the Reaper, the first couple of units starting to move out into the center of the map. souL putting up a bunker as well, just for safety's sake. In fairness, when he scouted, of course, he only saw an SCV, so he only knew it wasn't a proxy. He didn't know if it was an expand from his opponent or not, so he's just getting the safety bunker up, especially against Cyclone openers. You do want a bunker, because otherwise you will just be broken through so quickly and so easily on the natural. And then, of course, that does hurt quite substantially, as we do see this Reaper going to actually blast the Cyclone to allow the Hellion up the ramp and to get some info, maybe even some damage here. Going all the way up into the main, he's going to see, well, you know, factory producing a siege tank, barracks on a reactor, and starport just sat there. You'll know that this is very possibly a very fast push coming in from BratOK here in the next few moments, as we do see this Hellion. He's actually going to get himself a second worker kill of the game already. Can he get one more? He stays out of range of the Marines. Really nicely done. Triple kill for the Hellion. What an opener that was. All because he bounced that Cyclone with the Reaper to allow the Hellion to get on by in the first place. Very nicely done. So we are going to be having the Reaper now diving in as well. Just trying to pick up further info. Confirms it is indeed a siege tank that popped out. Now you'll see a starport building a something on Tech Lab 2, which is very likely to be a Raven in this scenario, of course. It's that or a Banshee. That or you've put it onto the Tech Lab for no real reason at all. So if it was a Banshee, I think you'd expect to see Cloak right now, as the factory has finished up this Tech Lab. And we do just have, well, the 1-1-1 setup from souL is pretty good. He's sitting 6 workers ahead off of this opener. Very nicely done, as we're going to be seeing the command center on the third base dropping on down into play. So that's coming up as well. Raving about a pop, and this is maybe BratOK's opportunity to get across the map and do something, but actually he doesn't really have that much. You know, considering he built this early tank, I guess, because he then went for the Raven, it slowed down everything else. Positive is he now has the Raven to deal with this Banshee a little bit more easily, and so the Banshee won't get anywhere near as much done as it wanted to. And that is going to be a dead Banshee, one more shot, and it goes down. 2 or 3 workers killed, so nicely done. Marine takes the watchtower on the upper left-hand side. A couple of engineering bays are coming down as well. Going to be seeing another barracks just coming up, and it is going to be bio play from souL then. So choosing to play with the Marines, the Marauders this time around. Probably Marine tank for him. Depends what his opponent opts to do. There's the stim pack coming into play. Eyes on BratOK, because as he takes a third and fourth gas, it could just be a very tech-heavy continued opener with Viking and tank production. He's got a third CC up as well for himself. Oh, and that is the choice that I'm waiting to kind of see here. The factory, the extra factory being built, that is the information that we're really looking for. So with an extra factory coming down, extra 2 factories coming down, it's going to give him the 3 factories to kind of play the mech style. So we're going to see some classic bio versus mech here in game number 1 of souL versus BratOK. So setting up into this, a very aggressive Terran player is what souL's going to have to be generally to try and slow that mech down. Let's see if he's going to be somewhat successful, as we do see his own 1-1 upgrades coming through. As the bio player, you're going to be looking to expand in faster. You're going to be looking to control the map and trying to just slow down the Terran player, the meching player. Excuse me, the meching player however you can. So try and slow down the meching player however you can. Is going to be the goal. Whether it's slowing down the 3rd base, the 4th base, counter-attacking in when he tries to push across. Let's see what souL can do as double armory comes up from BratOK to start his own upgrades. Single armory from souL will allow him to go into the 2-2 upgrades, and some vehicle upgrades as well will generally be very important when playing, you know, because he isn't just going to play a pure bio, right? He'll have some sort of siege tank support, so the +1 vehicle weapons will generally come through too. That Liberator, though, pokes in, grabs 5 kills, gets out, no damage taken. And that's the sort of dream Liberator, right? Because now it comes in again, it has a good chance to get even more damage dealt. Even if it just has to wait a little while, because right now souL is very aware of the possibility, it still can work absolute wonders, as we do see Lib does back away down through the center of the map. Just going to be seeing the upgrades from the bio player souL here finishing up, and as they finish, it should be the first time he's able to get on the map and maybe try and start poking around and looking for some opportunities here and there. With SCV or 2 just coming over and mining away as both players are set up on their 3rd bases, and a 4th base even already building up from souL again. As the bio player in this game, it's going to be so important for him to take control of these bases early, you know, as early as possible. Control the bases, expand around, all that's going to add up massively for him. As you do see him shutting down a couple of Hellions, that's nicely done. This Hellion also just running on away, doesn't want to stick around at all as he just clean up one of the, this sensor tower. Sorry, the watchtower. Since the tower just finished building for BratOK, which obviously helps him to deny the bio player from getting too much damage done. As the mech player, your army's very immobile, and so information, map control is so important but hard to come by, because generally the bio player should deny your map control. So things like sensor towers, which just allow you that kind of pre-warning of a drop coming in and army getting into position, it allows you to start moving your own army around defensively in plenty of time. This Banshee is being in for a couple of kills here and there, but is going to try and find just a little bit more. Just going to try and be a bit of a distraction as maybe the rest of the army sets up over on the right-hand side. A few shots coming down, and we'll end up killing a few SCVs actually before the Raven comes through to help. Man, some of those SCVs jumping in the refinery to stay alive. And interference matrix is coming down on the siege tanks. But there's a lot more siege tanks where the first 2 came from, so that's going to be important. Now the Vikings coming in, and there is going to be interference matrix response here as well from BratOK, going to allow him to win out that tank fight. And so far, souL is going to get pushed away. He's leading by a massive army supply, doubling the army supply. But again, how on earth are you going to be able to break the mech player who just sits on 3 bases? Obviously, as it goes up to 4 bases, it's a different story, but by the time 4 bases is up, there's much more mech to go up against as well, and BratOK really will be in the full swing of things. So far, souL not finding himself an opportunity to get much done yet. I'm just going to be, for the moment, bring this bio army through the center of the map. And siege tank shot does fire away, and just hitting the edge of a little bit of this bio force. 2-2 upgrades coming in from souL. We're going to be seeing a couple of Liberators going to take a couple of shots as they get into position, but they will get at least a few SCV kills and force some SCVs to pull out of position as well at the same time. This Liberator is going to get a little bit less done, but we'll still get some of these gas workers. 1 SCV left on minerals. Now this is painful. souL's taking quite a bit of eco damage. Anything the mech player can do to distract the bio player and to shut down economy is always going to be a big positive. And those Hellions are obviously roasting away as well. So many SCVs going down here. Really great damage done. as we do see extra barracks coming up from souL, but also the Ravens. He's got extra starports at the front, something which BratOK has now seen. So souL going into Ravens of his own to try and maybe help out against this mech army. Well, let's see if that's something which will, again, in the end, turn out to be a success for him. Bioforce continues to gather together. He's coming in, cleaning out a Marine on the watchtower here, as we do see just a small group of bio units going to stim in after those Hellions. They are going to be able to grab themselves a couple of kills, so Hellion's going to be slowly taken down as this Marine and Marauder will help to finish this off. Go! Go! Eventually they will actually get the kills, so Hellion's going down. I mean, it's a cleanup, and that's what's important as souL continues to take the base. His 5th base up, while the 4th base has been established by BratOK. It's actually very difficult to play against a mech player on Blackpink because the 4 bases do get defended rather easily. So the bigger question might be, how does souL deny a 5th base? How successful is he in that regard? Because that might be what he needs to look towards here to be able to kind of stick around in this and to be able to find himself some real success. And for now, though, I mean, he's doing the right things as well. Setting up the Ravens, getting his own air army going. It's going to be very important as the game moves by. So if he can just kind of take more gas and build into kind of an air terran force himself, generally that will be one of the kind of win conditions for a bio player against mech, as we do see interference matrices to actually stop these Hellions from doing as much damage. I mean, I guess these Ravens are just going to sit here and build up energy for a while, so may as well use the energy if it does kind of save the day and to stop those Hellions from doing as much damage as they were getting done. A couple of Hellions targeting down these couple of mules. You see this Bioforce stimming in and tanks sieging up. It's a big play from souL in towards this 4th base, but more tanks coming through. I think it's time to back away. Anti-armor missile strikes. Ravens from BratOK coming into action, and there's Liberator siege for these tanks need to get out of there, but they're already low. And I think somehow, wow, only 1 tank goes down just because the Liberator is overkilled quite heavily. Wow, very, very fortunate. A couple of tanks got away there. And souL, well, that's kind of what happens when you try and fight into a mech play when they're already set up, pretty defensively from the get-go. It's not easy. He will get advanced ballistics, so his own Liberators can have a bit more of an influence on the game. Corvid Reactor will be finishing shortly, +1 ship weapons, +3 vehicle plating. You can see that BratOK is realizing that this is more so about the air army now than the ground army. Instead of going into +3 vehicle weapons, he goes into the ship weapons instead. So definitely kind of buffering himself up in that regard. An SCV going to get taken down here. Second one also taken down. Tanks continue to siege, as we will be seeing. Marauders moving over to the left-hand side. A lot of this bio moving around just to check if there's extra bases, a hidden base even. souL feeling that as, if he can just keep this to a 4-base mech player, then maybe you can just continue to fight as he has been doing. Yes, it's not been pretty, it's been inefficient, but that is bio against mech. It's inefficient. And that's why you have to be taking these bases a lot faster. And that's why he has been taking these bases a lot faster, honestly. A bunch of SCVs all across those. I'm going to lose a couple of tanks here. This time he should lose 2 out of 3, if not all 3. Somehow this one just gets away again. It was just on the edge of that liberation zone. Ravens and Liberators joined up in the middle of the map. Bio pushing through the rocks. Just opening up pathways here, opening up opportunities. Never scan, just keeping track of still what is happening. Again, I like these Liberators, but the problem is there's so many Vikings up from BratOK. He's got 13 Vikings, and what's the answer to these Vikings? Well, I don't think Ravens alone are the answer, because there's Ravens here from BratOK too. And the Ravens might deter the Vikings from pushing forwards, but they're not going to kill them. So I don't really think there's much that souL can do with just the Liberators and Ravens. I really feel he needs to see him going into something more like some Viking production soon here as well. Tries to hit this base again, but it's really just too short of a rotation distance between the 3rd and the 4th to really get much done. BratOK's able to respond so very quickly, it's not really doing much at all. As we actually see the Ravens fighting away a little bit. Some interference matrices coming down. A bit of bio left over here. souL's desperately scanning to try and find something. He's definitely lost out in this fight for the most part, as we see the command center finishing top left. souL continuing to, again, expand all over the place. That's one part of the game he's doing correctly, but at some point, he has to try and find some better fights. He has to try and find a composition that can get a little bit of something done here, because right now, he's really running up against, again, the kind of the wall that is the mech army, and it's there's no shame in that. I mean, the mech army's hard to break. But again, if you're trying to attack into a 3rd and a 4th base, when now now the mech player's on a 5th and a 6th base. Now it's much easier to strike in 2 locations. And I think trying to deny these bases was unnecessary. When you've got this many bases yourself, if you deny these bases, the mech player on 4 bases is completely fine. That's completely reasonable. You can deal with that. So maybe just getting a little bit angsty about what's going on, so... So you're seeing a Liberace jump. It's going to be seeing a little bit of attack. Bit of a passive moment or two, then obviously as souL backs away to rebuild from that, well, somewhat of a disastrous attack, honestly. Meanwhile, obviously, BratOK, his entire game plan is just to sit back and build up, kind of let souL attack into him. He's got no reason to rush this, he's got no reason to push this quicker than it needs to be. As you have, well, still a lot of Ravens, so attacking into the bio player is not going to be easy at all. Going all the way back down to the south side. Vikings and Ravens gathering together as souL barracks going into the center of the map. As you see this bio force of souL coming all the way down to the south side. Few missile turrets going to get into play. Going to do what they can. A couple of missile turrets taking some shots, and they are going to be these anti-armor missiles just forcing the forcing souL into this position where, like, well, do you want to attack when your army's all orange? No, probably not. And meanwhile, Hellions are finding some more damage yet again to the top side of the map. So good stuff so far. Back and forth between the two of them. More Ravens just keep on setting up here at the moment, and he's going to be seeing a few anti-armor missiles this time from souL's side of things. Connecting, but not really doing much. Doesn't really kill too much. souL lifts his CZ. We'll just take it over here instead. I mean, now it's difficult to break these positions. Right now, how do you break here? Well, I mean, you can break up here, but obviously souL's army's out of location. The barracks gives him info, the turrets give him info. The Ravens are still set up down to the south, though, and he just set up a liberation zone, which will push some tanks back. souL wasn't quite in position to jump on this with the rest of the army, however, unfortunately. And here we go, interference makes coming down. Anti-armor missiles on the fours, splashing a lot of the tanks, but doesn't quite find the confidence to keep pushing forwards. Oh my god, though! The Ravens of BratOK just disappear. He just lost all of his Ravens. The anti-armor missiles there from souL connected, and that was absolutely beautiful. Wow. Okay, well, that's one way BratOK loses his Ravens, and now maybe souL does have a bit of freedom to move around the map a little bit more so than he did previously. +3 vehicle weapons is about to finish up from BratOK. He's got a few SCVs in this main, which are going to have to move somewhere else very soon, because they're not going to have much else to mine. That mineral patch is so close to being completely mined out at this stage. Another couple of scans, just keeping an eye ahead of the rest of the, ahead of the army. Looking to see what's up, looking to see what's going on. 2 siege tanks from BratOK coming away to the right-hand side. Going to actually be a little bit of harassment for him, as souL is completely kind of focused on the aggression. He's not ready at all to deal with this, so he just pulls SCVs away. These tanks will hit both the low ground and the high ground, depending on what they want to target. This is nice. souL, he finds the opening. He finds the fact that, okay, everything's focusing on the south side of the map. This base is way too far away for you to hold on to. So he's going to deny this, and that really should have happened sooner. That's the sort of thing which he's been trying to do when the Terran was on, when BratOK was on 4 bases, but which he wasn't successful in because it's just too close, this 4th and 3rd. But now the 5th and 6th are up. They are far apart, and you can, bully that kind of, pressure that and abuse the lack of mobility of the meching player. Nicely done, as souL will come on through and he'll get himself an SCV kill here, so keeping this base from being retaken. Obviously, maybe now the issue is BratOK just takes this base here and pushes to the right-hand side with it. He can take down a couple of bases of souL, but I like souL's idea. By already expanding towards the top left, it doesn't matter which way BratOK pushes, because BratOK, or souL, will be able to control whichever side of the map the meching player doesn't push on. Again, the mech player is down to the south, so pushing in here, our bio player is going to come on through, and souL is going to get access to this planning for his anti-armor missiles on SCVs. Well, he actually still needs to get rid of the SCVs, though he's losing quite a bit fighting this planetary. This planetary is insanely powerful, oh my god. The building plating, just so powerful here. The planetary just lasts forever with the repairs. Obviously, eventually it goes down. Now BratOK's only got 42 SCVs. souL will lose bottom right, and Hellions actually denying top left. This is something souL can't let happen. He needs to keep at least one side of his map active in terms of mining. He can't lose both sides, although he is the player with the larger bank at the moment. Backing away. His put his opponent down to 4 bases, although an orbital going to come back in will be able to take this position instead. And souL now able to clean up those couple of siege tanks though in this bottom corner, harassing those 2 bases. souL leads by 13 workers. He's got a larger bank. He's got a larger army, but it's a less efficient army still than his opponent. If we look at the unit tab, the Raven count is pretty even, 17 to 15. There's obviously a lot of bio units from souL, whereas BratOK actually only has 6 tank and then 9 fours. He also has 8 Vikings on his side, so it's so much about this air control from BratOK. And even the fours are going to kind of, you know, go along with that idea here, as you're all going to be seeing this push up to the top side perhaps, but there's the push to the south again. This is how souL should be doing this, taking the opportunities to come along and to shut down these bases when his opponent is on the other side of the map. This is what Bio is so good at against Mech, but he has to be careful. He's going to lose his Ravens. Oh my god. Well, that's how it just turns around instantly as well. souL just lost, what, like 10 Ravens or something? And that's a lot of gas. He's lost 50 in the game. I'm not sure if all of them are right here, but now his last few Ravens are coming in. They're going to be in trouble from the fours. So he's going to lose everything. He doesn't have the gas to rebuild that. He doesn't have the time to rebuild that. 4 starports, sure, but 3 of them are tech labs, so 3 Ravens at a time. I mean, even then, his bank is not going to put up with getting him that many Ravens again, and I actually think that Ravens are kind of important for him, especially because there's still Ravens of BratOK, which are going to be able to find future fights like that once more. We are going to be having this Bioforce coming up to the top side. You see a couple of tech labs going to be exposed here, of course. Tanks and floors pushing down will clean this up. Into the middle of the map, so again, is just going to have to think about where he might try and attack next. Or how he might try and attack. Anti-armor missiles hit nicely again. Even this splash over time, there isn't many medevacs. That's crazy. It is crazy. The fact he doesn't have medevacs means that over time the anti-armor missiles are really quite deadly. Because it just doesn't have enough healing to heal up every single time those missiles hit out. So now limited to just the right-hand side of the map. This command center up here isn't even mining, so it's not that influential. He did deny this base. This base is back up, so BratOK's only just getting his own economy underway again. I mean, he's really barely mining anything, right? Like, look at that, look at the bank. It's non-existent. souL has money. If souL can keep this up, there's maybe a way. Even though, if he just retakes this base maybe, or gets these bases mining comfortably for a moment or two, it's possible. The issue is fighting the Ravens is now going to be very difficult for him. And it's fights like this that he needs to take. Stimming ahead and maybe targeting down a Raven for like 8 to 10 Marines. Something like that is inefficient in minerals, but it's going to be so worthwhile in terms of slowly bleeding through the gas count of his opponent. As we see, this is a nice little shutdown of some of the final 30 workers of BratOK. So some of those workers take some hits right there. Another scan on each side of the map at the moment. The Marines and Marauders still trying to do some bits and pieces, trying to find something. Hellions in the tank, though, coming through and cleaning those units out. We're all going to be seeing a stim in. Oh, souL's going to come into the fight. The anti-armor missiles coming in. His concave is huge, but the tanks in the background are surely going to be way too good in this scenario. And I think you can see that souL is having to back away at the moment, as we are going to be seeing those medevacs. Well, now he's got a few more of those up. That definitely helps the bio army, but not if the anti-armor missiles are just relentless. Older turrets coming down too helps him to push away this base and push away the army. Takes down the base. Bottom right hand side is obviously one of the next targets, and that's not going to be a planetary fortress that can stop this army of BratOK. I mean, all the turrets alone might just be able to get the job done, as BratOK has so many Ravens and so much energy to spare. SCVs don't even try to repair at the moment, and as they start long distance into this orbital, a lot of them will go down to the last couple of order turrets that remaining. Again, souL takes the chance to maybe move around the top side of the map now instead, as we are going to be seeing a couple of Ravens coming on through. I mean, he's still trying to rebuild that Raven count up, and he's getting there slowly but surely. But that's the issue. Is it going to be substantial enough, as we're going to be seeing? Well, this planetary fortress is going to be taken down. That is, again, a nice denial of economy for BratOK. But I don't even think BratOK needs economy anymore, because his army that's standing in the game is going to be good enough. Oh my god, Marines again take a beating. And it's just not ever going to be enough for souL to break through this. Again, he's done a good job of shutting down the eco, holding the eco throughout the game. But at some point, you still have to be able to kill the army. And losing your Ravens takes away the one thing that really could have made that happen. Anti-armor missiles, they really don't leave much room for forgiveness, as that's going to be even more Marines, Marauders, all dying out. I'm not sure why he isn't even just spamming out more anti-armor missiles to fully clean this out, although I guess he's going to get the kills here in the end anyways. Interference Matrix is going to stop those units from ever unloading, and actually stops the medivacs from boosting as well, I guess. That's the Vikings catch up. It's a nice little something just to add on towards the end here, as now souL 95 supply. He's lost absolutely everything, and BratOK is looking as though he's going to be able to take game 1 against souL. souL who knocked out Namshaw in this bracket, by the way. So really, really awesome stuff here, as we are going to be seeing this Marine continue to fight against this little refinery. Go, Marine, you can do it! You can stop the gas income! I believe in you! Yeah, maybe not. It's okay. Aliens coming in, they're going to get themselves a pick-off on a Marine. I mean, there is the air army that souL's been able to rebuild, but obviously it just doesn't even stack up in terms of numbers. He's going to need the best clump ever in terms of these Ravens clumping up. He's going to need some hella good missiles. I'm just not sure if you're going to be able to find it. You can see that BratOK's already shift-clicked something to come down here. He's going to clean up. Whoa, he's actually going to lose a bunch of his Ravens. I mean, again, maybe if you do that a few moments ago, maybe you start to get somewhere, but again, it's just way too little, way too late. Pushing forwards now. BratOK knows that he's got the advantage, and he knows he can push on it to take game number 1. And again, this was just game 1 of this TvT, guys. We got more of this to bring you. Games 2 and 3 going to be coming through here very soon. Just waiting for souL to tap out of game number 1. Anti-armor missiles. Man, someone earlier in this game in the chat said, isn't it great to see a TvT that isn't all about cyclones? It really was. But I'm not sure if it was really worth it to see a game that really became all about Ravens in the end. This is going to be the cleanup, and maybe this is going to be the last stand of souL. Stimming in, he actually kills off a lot of the tanks, but the 4s alone, way too powerful, way too good. GG, BratOK takes game number 1. Woo! Love in the chat for tackle stuff as we kick off into game number 2 of BratOK versus souL. To the bottom right-hand side, the blue Terran player who's down a game now, it is souL. And to the upper left-hand side, the red Terran player is BratOK. One of these players is going to win. Hashtag spoilers, says Darius. Well, you aren't wrong, Darius. One of these players will win. Almost definitely, actually. Eventually. So getting ourselves set up and going into this here, we're going to be seeing this refinery on the way up, and the barracks going to be coming down as well for BratOK. We are going to be seeing an SCV coming up on each side of the map. What a surprise, what great commentary. Someone in the chat will be thinking, or at least someone in the stream will be thinking, who is this caster? What is he even saying that for? Honestly, I don't know why I said that. That was actually maybe the most useless comment of the entire day. Truly useless. Truly universally useless. Well, kicking off here, let's see what happens in game 2. Are we going to get another long game of bio versus mech, or are we going to be seeing something a little bit speedier? Obviously, TvT is still very volatile early game. There's still definitely ways you can lose out in a game very quickly. If you lose your first Reaper, things can get out of hand alone. So, you know, there's definitely the potential for a much faster game here. But there's also the potential for much, very much so a game that looks so similar to the last as well. We'll see here very soon, as we just see SCVs fighting each other. For now, 1 gas apiece means that we are going to be seeing the expansions pretty quickly, exact same as in game number 1. souL actually gets an SCV kill across the map. Wow. Well, that's somewhat tilting. I mean, you never want to lose an SCV to another SCV. And it's one of those things that starts to get in your head. You're like, no, why did I do... How can I not micro that? How does that happen, you know? How does that happen? Reaper comes in, takes a little bit of a fight, as you're going to be seeing the SCV trying to help out, and actually will force that Reaper away. BratOK backing off here, so souL already on the hunt. I mean, these Reapers can only run straight for so long, which generally means one will start to catch the other, but in this case, BratOK will just be able to get that Reaper away. Factor on the way from both players here. souL gets himself set up, gets himself going into this little bit of a setup now. Starport coming down. Game number 2 of this best of 3 series. This is a quarterfinal matchup in the Go4 monthly finals. Wardy, you spoiled who's winning this game when you said how many games were remaining. No, I didn't. I said this could be the last map of the night. Or 2, if souL is able to turn it around. I think you heard me wrong, Borgiri. I'm almost certain I said this is the last map of the night, or could be the last map of the night. Or maybe not, if souL turns around. I'm pretty sure that's what I said word for word, but I could be wrong. Maybe I fucked up. Maybe you'll find out soon. That's a mystery. Anyways, a couple of Hellions coming in. This Reaper is going to get caught, so BratOK does get revenge for that little bit of a fight they had earlier. I say revenge. He didn't lose much, but he did lose a couple of SCVs, which was obviously painful. And just setting up with some Hellions now. A couple of Cyclones as well, BratOK. Continuing to get this set up as we do see souL. He's actually gone for a fast tank, and I wonder if we see just a fast push from him. I mean, a second tank coming out as well. Generally, you have 2 tanks this early, and a medevac especially. It really suggests something along the lines of, I'm going to push, I'm going to put tanks in a very annoying position, I'm going to make your life very difficult. A scan from BratOK actually doesn't see the tank, but he sees the tech lab and the factory building. And what's interesting is now he doesn't know if that's maybe the first tank on the way up or a second tank, right? So, you know, he kind of gets a rough idea of what's being built, but he doesn't know exactly. As we are going to be seeing a couple of Cyclones and moving through the center. We'll see what he can do with these. He's going into a tank of his own and a Viking, which will give him some air control. He actually drops Hellions into the main base, but the tanks and Marines of souL are able to respond, and he minimizes any damage that would have potentially been taken there. So, good defense. Is this going to be an 8 Marine double tank drop? 2 medevacs are here ready to go. Loads up, starts to boost across the map. Meanwhile, BratOK pushing through the center, going to be coming up this ramp and going to be pushing in towards the natural expansion. And an SCV here from souL is going to take a couple of shots. Does get taken down, actually. So SCV gets taken down. These Hellions as well doing a little bit more damage. So a little more damage being dealt. We're going to be seeing them continue to chase around. SCVs continue to come on in. A couple of Cyclones getting to work and picking away at those SCVs still. Nicely done so far. And Hellions just trying to do a little bit more. Man, those Cyclones actually getting quite a lot done, but at the same time, tanks siege up in the main base, so souL's going to get quite a lot done over there. He's eventually going to clean up. He's down 11 workers, but his attack is still ongoing. And those tanks are starting to be deadly. Tanks pop up actually from BratOK, but somehow souL loads up both tanks and 6 of the 8 Marines, or 5 of the 8 Marines that he originally dropped. So souL actually has units to continue fighting with here. And that's obviously hugely influential, because now if he just drops off and fights this tank without this Marine on the low ground even if he just sets up over here, I mean, he gets the siege up before this tank's in position. The Vikings might be able to drop, but it's going to be even more SCVs killed. He is going to get that siege tank kill, and BratOK, he's lost a lot in this right now. And we're going to be seeing him down to 14 workers, so souL definitely coming off better after these trades. Oh man, now there's going to be a Banshee popping up. Is there detection? Well, in this sort of scenario, so often you see the Terran players just dropping down mules somewhat desperately, like, oh my god, give me the economy back, let me get back in this. He just dropped his mule on the natural, and that's going to be so painful as this Banshee comes and cleans out the rest of these SCVs, and BratOK is going to be taking game. Sorry, it's going to be taking. I'm saying, just because I say we have game 2 and 3 to go, it doesn't necessarily mean we actually have a game 3. I'm just saying there's the possibility of game 2 and 3, just without saying possibility, right? I think you guys are reading a little bit too much, because I genuinely thought this was a 2-0 series. I was so convinced it was a 2-0 that when I came out of game, I was kind of like, I was like, where's the third replay? Which is why I was a little bit kind of like humming and hawing going into the game. I was like, that's awkward. But, yeah, so this is game number 3 now. So if you guys think I spoiled it, then I really didn't do it intentionally, and it was just you guys reading a bit too much into it, because I really thought this was a 2-0. So that's why I was so careful when I said this could be the last game of the day, because if I say this is the last game of the day, then, you know, yada yada, it does give it away, but then I would have been wrong anyways, so who knew? Anyways, guys, let's go into game 3, and we do have to the top left hand side of the map our red Terran player. This is souL going up against the blue Terran player to the bottom right hand side, BratOK. And souL is throwing down the proxy 2 racks for the Reapers here in the early stages of game number 3. It's been a little while since we've seen 2 racks Reaper, actually. I haven't casted it for a little while, so interested to see what happens. The Fat Shot's in the chat saying, don't get to see the stream often as I want, but it's always super good quality and the music is always on point. Thanks, Wardy. Thank you so much, the Fat Shorts, for some kind words in the chat. If you guys have enjoyed the day, don't forget to hit that follow button. You know what else I'm going to say. You guys know how to support. Do so if you enjoy the content and want to see more. Otherwise, let's see what happens for this third and final game of the series. Reaper pops out, looking to see what's going on, and we are going to be having a... actually, Reaper coming back towards the kind of the ramp here. A couple of Reapers hopping up from the souL, obviously, now. This is nice, though, because BratOK opened double gas, even though he didn't scout. So with double gas, he kind of is better set up to defend this than he would have been on the previous games where he went for the faster expansion. Reapers do get one SCV so far. Third Reaper shows up and will get the SCV down on the low ground. First Cyclone from BratOK about to finish build, and that will be good. It will be a real kind of pushing power to push those Reapers away now. So we're all going to be seeing that Cyclone about to pop, and coming into the left-hand side, we're going to be seeing a couple of workers going down. The Cyclone is going to be pushed away. He catches one of the Reapers already, and killing Reapers at this stage against a 2-Rax Reaper is very, very good for you. I mean, just the fact you're able to pick away a couple of this and is really fantastic, as we are going to be seeing those few Reapers of souL going to be trying to jump in towards the main and looking to try and do a little bit more. So still going to be souL trying to find more now, because he is going to be behind if he doesn't get more damage done. Especially just because there's going to be 2 Cyclones out here, so he needs to slow BratOK down as much as possible. BratOK is behind on workers, as we do see those Reapers looping around the other side here. One Reaper goes down, the second Reaper of this attack will not quite go down. So close, but just not quite. Meanwhile, though, BratOK goes across the map with his own 2 Reapers, so getting in towards the mineral lines here. He's going to be able to pick his way through a couple of SCVs. I mean, here goes one. I mean, there's going to be another. I mean, it's just SCVs that will definitely go down. Engineering Bay will block those Reapers from kind of having as good an access to the mineral line as they would have liked. The more workers he gets killed now, the better position he ends up in. He even kills one of the 2 barracks. One of them floats home, the other one just sits there. That's amazing, of course. We're going to see the Hellion popping out. Will be okay to turn it away, but he pulls the Reapers all the way back home. And obviously this is fab, because he's just getting, you know, a 3rd Cyclone out. Now a factory goes onto a reactor, so you can reactor out Cyclones. And BratOK is by far and away going to have the better standing army, the army which really can bring home the damage in a fight. Fazik, thank you so much for the Twitch Prime sub, by the way, dude. Welcome back to the Wardy family. Do appreciate it. Glad to see you returning. I know you've been subbed previous times. Thank you so much for the Twitch Prime. Wicked25, the Twitch Prime as well. I feel like that's a name I also recognize, so welcome back. I'm going to say welcome back if it is your first time sub, and I apologize. I've gotten you mixed up with someone else, but I seem to feel like I've seen your name subscribed before. So thank you so much for the Twitch Primes, guys. Back-to-back Prime subs. As this game, though, this TvT is getting interesting. The Cyclones have come across the map. Now the Reapers over here, if they try to push in, there's 2 Cyclones waiting for them. And there's only 1 Cyclone here from souL. So this is really the opportunity now for BratOK to just push in and get so much done. The 2 Cyclones defend so easily on this side, obviously. And I mean, well, what now? I mean, SCVs will pull in. The Cyclone has to pull away. There's a Banshee on the way out from souL. If you could actually get the Banshee up, then maybe there's something that can be done. But at this stage, he's already losing so much. Even if he, I mean, he's going to clean up. He keeps the Cyclone until the very end. Now it goes down, so he does lose out on it. But he's 9 workers down. This Banshee has to do some mega damage. But the fact the Cyclones were here means he saw that Banshee being researched on Cloak. So he knows there's a Banshee possibility. He'll get himself an Engineering Bay. He'll get turrets up. He'll save himself a scan or 2. And obviously he's got Cyclones to just lock on and kill that almost immediately. So really here, BratOK is in the dream position where as Reapers come forward, souL, they're again not going to do much. The Banshee will try and dive for the main base perhaps, and maybe the Cyclones will be out of, you know, position for a moment or 2, but even still, 9 workers is a lot of damage to get done if there is some sort of a quick response with detection available. And now the Banshee actually heads towards the natural where the Cyclones are even closer to, so scan, locks on, and even if he just pushes it away for the moment, now there's missile turrets. So the Banshee being low means that I can't even really do too much because it goes too close just for a moment. It's going to be almost dead. Now 1 shot from death. It might even be worth dropping the scan just to get rid of it. Cyclones again deflecting Reapers on the natural. There's 1 Banshee. If it survives, okay, fine. But the scan has completely denied it from dealing actual damage. And that's fine, right? Because if he hasn't found worker kills, he's not finding his way back into the game that he's been looking for. This is a nice little snipe from the edge of the base, edge of the mineral line, just out of range of turret detection. But really, I mean, this game is all but over. I mean, this Banshee's actually going to get caught here. Nice catch as it tries to get home to repair. Okay, one more Banshee coming into the main base in the natural, but the Cyclone's going across the map. And what is there defensively? A tank. Literally 3 Marines. It's not going to be enough to defend this now. And that's going to be the biggest issue. As we see, okay, there's a couple of Reapers as well. Does that change things? Probably not. The second tank's close to coming out. But so many Cyclones and BratOK. If he doesn't end the game, he's going to do a lot of damage yet again, right? And, I mean, that's the issue. The Cyclones, they get the tank after, like, 2 shots, which is fine. The tank on the high ground will get a bit done, but then he scans up to get rid of it. It just drops so quickly to this amount of Cyclones. The Marines don't really do enough damage fast enough. The Cyclones are a bit too tanky. And it looks as though BratOK will take down souL here 2 games to 1. Pushing into the main, a handful of Cyclones left as a Cyclone on the low ground, low on health. Left behind just to fight against mules. A safer fight for a Cyclone that's low on health. The Cyclone doesn't get the same opportunity, sadly, when he falls down low. Cyclone reinforcements, and this again from souL is just not going to be a defense which you'll find a way to conjure up out of nowhere. I mean, that one Banshee is something he's still trying to make use of here somehow, some way. Another tank goes down, Banshee will go down, GG. BratOK takes game 3, and he's able to take the series. BratOK closes out our day of